All right. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing great today. Sorry for our delay. We may have a Zoom issue here, but it looks like we're back in and rocking and rolling. And oh yeah, Keith's saying that Simon is in charge now. I promoted him over Sean.
Well, apparently he wrote him over you as well, Dan, because this is your
That's
show.
true. Exactly. So Sean, how's the weather there out on the east, in the east there?
You know what? The weather is fantastic, man. Actually, I think it's 55 degrees today, sunny.
Oh, wow.
But last night it was like 25, which was, decently cold.
Yeah.
Ask Simon. Simon is all about this weather. He was here over the weekend. And he actually said he's going to relocate to Pittsburgh, but he's going to wait until it hits about wintertime because he enjoys the Miami heat to the Pittsburgh winter.
I'm feeling that he's laughing right now. So
Yes,
that's awesome.
I would imagine he is. But we celebrated over the weekend for St. Patrick's Day and stuff, so it was a good weekend. So.
And yesterday was your birthday, my friend.
That's right, my 21st. I was legally able to drink. Thank you.
That is awesome.
Yes.
I heard that your little trick is that you get the Just for Men Gray edition that makes you look more esteemed and older, and so
yes. It's easier for people to trust me in business when I look like I have some years and some mileage on me. So
exactly. So hey Simon, good to hear from you, my friend. So all right, so today we have Sean Lardo with us. Sean is a rock star. Sean is a rock star at OITVOIP, and you look like a rock star right now.
It's that.
Yeah, and I feel like you should have a bass guitar or something. So
and I don't play any instruments. That's my limitation. No instruments.
Sean, what's your fancy title? What's your fancy title?
Dad. Oh,
Dad?
No, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, I'm the vice president of partner development here at OITVOIP. So essentially I work with all of our partners. We looked at, one thing that we try to focus on and we pride ourselves on is, being the right match together, partner and vendor, because it's a very serious, it's a very difficult relationship if you don't do it right in the first place. So we try to make sure when we're going through the process of recruiting them and they're recruiting us, because it is a mutual recruitment, that we're a good match. After that, we focus heavily on one of my primary responsibilities is focus on enabling them to actually grow their business, sell and market better. And they work with me and tell me what they need, what we're lacking, and it's a constant journey for us to work with them. So
yeah. And I mean, I guess when it comes down to it, you say to make sure that they're a good fit for us as well, is a lot of times, as MSPs, we just think about how are they going to be a fit for us, but it's got to be a fit both ways, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You want a partnership. You don't want a client vendor relationship, because in that partnership, it's a true team working together, and team together, team apart. Those client vendor relationships, which I think a lot of vendors out there, that's kind of, I wouldn't say it's their strategy. It might be just like a lack of strategy of having, the partnership model versus a client vendor. So key area there. And
absolutely.
Today we're going to talk about what it takes to sell, and of course with OITVOIP here today. And so Sean, you've been in sales for just a few years, right?
Well, I started when I was 18, so 3 years now and running.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
So no, I've been in between marketing, business development, and sales, and relationship building, because that's what we'll call it ultimately, is relationship building. I've been doing that for 20 years. So not that there's obviously people that are far smarter than I am. So, but I found myself to be an avid student of other people. So even like doing these webinars, it's really fun to do these, because we start doing some research in areas that you forget to check it helps you refine your skill set, because you forget about things and you start reading you read articles and you're like, wow, I haven't thought about doing this in years. So, but yeah, I've focused heavily on doing it in sales enablement for quite some time.
Yeah, because I mean, the day we think we know it all, we don't.
No.
there's always something new. There's always something we can learn. And we have to have that mindset that we may have been successful in the past with our skill set, but we always have to sharpen it. And there's always a new way to sell. There's always maybe a new feature or benefit that, the product or service offers that can, provide a different benefit to that client today in 2021 than it might have, a couple years ago. So
absolutely, I would say that's an absolute certainty, considering the shift in how we do business from 2019 to today. It's very different.
Right. Exactly. So why don't we let's kick it off. Let's get this party started.
Sure. I guess I got to share my screen, right? Somehow, some way. How do I share?
Somehow, some way. MGK.
I don't have the ability to share my screen here. How do I share this? Oh, now I do. It just popped up. We are ready.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, right. Good is right. So I'll do exactly what Ray hates. Can you see my screen okay, everybody? Because he loves that.
I'll check that out.
So let's talk a little bit about, how to sell, because it's really important. Very simple agenda. I'm going to keep this very high level. Interactive is a must. And I taught this GIF from, up. I'm going to finish that. What do we do? How do we do it? So first off, there's a lot of conversations I have with most of our partners, almost all of our partners are MSPs, and they always say, hey, we're going to get sales up. We're going to hire a salesperson. We're going to increase our sales. And the question is how do you do it? Instead of trying to sit here and give you a bunch of gimmicky pitches and stuff like that, that doesn't help you any. So I'd rather focus on the fundamental requirements to do this. So, it's all about identifying your business needs or growth. What are the resources you need? And the sale and any kind of, and I say sales process structure, but just actually processes and structure is on all fronts is extremely important. So let's talk about this. And again, I'm going to keep this always high level, and we can always do drawdowns. If people ask questions they want, and we can always talk about this later on. If you guys have any questions, you can always just go to sales@oit.co and feel free to email, and you'll find me. But a SWOT analysis is extremely important for any company. And a SWOT analysis, people think of it and they think of a high-level company requirement of doing everything for all business. But you should have a drawdown in the particular departments just to see where where your strengths and weaknesses are, where your opportunities are, and where the threats are. And so once you do that, and I want to recite something that a good friend and smart guy sometimes said, which was Alex Farling from Lifecycle Insights. He talked about the sales pitch and how it needs documented. The process needs to be documented so you can actually review and improve each sale. It's not checking on the process of how they pitch the product. It's every aspect from the life cycle of the lead, the journey itself. And there's so many factors involved between selling, marketing, customer service. It's all part of this, but you should, at the end of the day, the most important thing here is a documented process that you can review. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to focus on that because it's such a big part of it. And a lot of people don't do it. A lot of MSPs have done business and grown like exponentially due to them being great MSPs and being able to provide very quality service, but don't know how to repeat their success. They're not really quite sure what they did to be successful.
Yeah. And I think the SWOT analysis, I think often that we look at this, and I say we, just people in general, as something that you do against another business. But you can use SWOT analysis on yourself. You can use it specific to, a product or service, specifically to a product or service. It doesn't have to be against a whole company,
Not at all.
It's a great tool.
Absolutely not at all. And I mean, we start off our conversation by saying, when I'm doing the presentation, I have to go read stuff. It makes me identify some of the gaps. Right. I realize some things I'm doing well and some things I'm not doing well just by reading other articles and realizing, wow, I haven't even touched this in a while. So absolutely. So once you do your SWOT analysis, the first thing to identify are your resources. And when people talk about resources, they immediately think some people have a very siloed off thought process and what resources really mean. Resources thus are, and I address it as aces in their places, leads, technology, content, and sales process. Again, a conversation, and I'll use the conversation that Ray and I had whenever we decided to work together. He said, hey, we have expectations of numbers we want to hit. I said, obviously I agree. I'm not doing this otherwise. But what the conversation came back to was, was talking about how we're going to get there. And we started to evaluate and assess the resources by having, and it's even like when you onboard a new hire for the first time, laptops, phones, everything. Those are all resources. Those are things that you don't realize as resources, but those are part of it. The other part is, let's talk about, things like leads and who the employees are and whatnot. So I'm going to dig into a little bit real quick, all of these things actually, but just at a very high level. And I do have links on these pages, hyperlinks. So when you guys get the presentation deck, you can click on and it sources the articles that I pulled some of this content from. So it should get you a deeper dive into some of the things you want to learn about.
Perfect.
So aces in their places. It's all about hiring the right people for the right job. First off, you have to identify what you do need for the job. Okay, many people start saying things like, I'm going to hire a salesperson. And the question is, for what? And they say to close business. Yeah, I got that part, but where do they fit in the journey of the lead cycle? Are you expecting to be the closer, the opener, the appointment setter, or are they just the person that goes out and generates relationships and networks? Those are just simple examples. There's many more things in between there, but you have to start to work on, hey, who is it that I want? What is it that, and we'll speak specifically to MSPs right now. Most MSPs are very good at closing deals when people know they're there to talk about that thing, whatever it is, whatever the IT resource they're going to provide is. So if that's what you're going to be moving forward, then chances are you probably need somebody to help you generate more leads. And that's when we talk about these positions, a sales development rep, an SDR, they typically work with your existing resources to further qualify the leads, to bring them to an actual a meeting with whoever the closer is, which will maybe be your sales executive, which most MSP business owners usually fall into play with that.
Right.
BDRs, they have a hybrid role. A lot of times they work with marketing and sales. They are the ones that will help get out there, generate the brand, and get things rolling for them to find interest, to start bringing leads back, break the ice, and then bring them into either, depending on your process, either an SDR or bring them to the owner or sales executive. Account managers, they typically, and Alex Farling is a huge proponent of this. I hate to keep using his name, but he talks about it all the time. Account managers usually work with their farmers. They're not hunters usually. They usually work with your existing clients, maintain the relationship, and help them to grow their business. They start looking for add-ons and upgrades and whatnot. So that's your aces and your places. Again, you have to identify what you guys need first and where you're going to go with it.
One other thing I want to throw out there when it comes to these positions, you mentioned you have different roles here. Well, thinking back to when many MSPs started their business, they wore pretty much, all the hats. They didn't have a person in place that was going to handle triage. They didn't have an accounting person. They didn't have a marketing person. They handled pretty much everything. And that's something that's going to start out when you hire your first salesperson. That person might be handling multiple responsibilities, but the goal is to have that person, start building that business so you can start segmenting out these different positions so that you're more efficient in the closing process and you can drive more sales.
Absolutely. And that's actually something we'll cover, which is the process and being repeatable. But you have to make a decision as the owner. If you've always been the marketing salesperson, is that what you're going to keep doing? And if so, then you got to find the role that's going to complement that, and that's usually your BDR or SDR roles. Or, and if you're not going to work with your existing clients, that's your account manager and you go do all the rest. And as you grow, you can backfill this as you're growing. With enough, I learned a long time ago, with enough money comes easy way to answer and solve problems.
Yeah.
Technologies. I know a lot of people use ConnectWise and Autotask, and they got these PSAs that have these CRM lights. Maybe that gives you exactly what you need. And if so, great. As long as you're able to address, at least at the most primitive level, contacts, accounts, and opportunities, and you can track, great, that's fine. If that's enough for you for now, great. But if you're starting to look at, a more robust sales process, and as you're adding on more technologies, you may want to start looking at other CRMs. I actually have from the article, the list of CRMs that you might want to look at, between anything from Salesforce to Honeypot to whatever. Pretty important to know. Another stat here, technology-wise, social selling. Now, I listed under technologies, and people are like, well, that's social selling. But in reality, though, there are technologies involved in this. At the corporate level, companies use platforms like Hootsuite and whatnot to get their social media, broadcasted over large groups of people. But you can draw down even further to even the reps, the employees, of sharing content and constantly engaging. And I thought this was a great stat. Evidence that shows us, salespeople who focus on social media platforms outsell their colleagues 75% of the time. I mean,
That's a great stat. Yeah. Wow.
Do yourself a favor, look at all your competition in your immediate area and do the math of who, and if you're not doing any kind of social selling and somebody else is, think about how much business, take your number and times it by 75%, and that's probably where they are. I mean, that's insane.
Right.
So,
and if you're not doing it, your chance of getting something is zero.
Exactly. You're an unknown, and exactly. It's not the field of dreams. It's not if you build it, they will come. That's not how this works. Right. You have to let people know that this exists.
And it's not a silver bullet, so just because you begin down this process and you're like, well, I'm not getting any leads. Well, it's not going to happen immediately overnight. It takes time and it takes patience. And, you just have to continue to do it and get out there, because the law of averages, the more times that you're getting out in front of prospective clients, the chances of 1, 2, 3 and more of them wanting your services will continue to grow as they see you more often.
Absolutely. Awareness is key for sure. It makes you a constant amongst their groups. It's almost like the same, you go to the same restaurant all the time because you like their food, you see their advertisements, whatever, they become a constant in your life. It's just a go-to. You want to be the go-to. So I also put an email tracking software, right? And most people think immediately they go to MailChimp, Constant Contact, things like that. And those are absolutely great, but those are more at the marketing level you typically see. I threw in here companies like We're, Sales Handy, and Sarah's Insight. We actually use Sarah's Insight at OIT. And the reason why I use this is because we're talking about salespeople and what they should be using. These softwares are really good. I can speak from Sarah's Insight personally because it has integration into Salesforce. So all of my emails are being documented so we can track and see what's happened with leads and what's currently going on, especially if I'm effective in the way I write emails for next steps. Also, I can track open rates. When I send you the email, I send you the contract. I want to see you open the email. You can't say you didn't receive it. Takes away that, like back in the day, the read receipts that we used to have. It's so annoying. It wasn't annoying then. It was awesome when you were a sales rep. It was annoying as a receiver. Now you don't have to do that. So I can actually track my engagement with somebody, with an actual prospect. I can track my engagement with an entire group of prospects or stakeholders within one company. These are fantastic tools. And a lot of them offer the ability for you to template emails for your actual employees to use. So if you have really good sales content and marketing content, they typically will have a place to host this for them that they can actually use them and collaborate on them as well. And then web conferencing. We're on one right now. These numbers speak for themselves. From 2019 to 2021, it's gone from door to door to this. I've been doing this type of way of doing business for many, many years because I've worked globally. So I've always had these meetings, not in as high a frequency as I do today, though. A lot of people have to get on the boat. They have to get rolling with this because it's here, it's happening. Also, I want people to really think about the fact that when you try to schedule time at somebody's office, and it's a very important CEO, for instance, that person has to take time out of their day to make sure they're ready for you to come into the office. They have to make sure people are ready to see you if need be. This is a much quicker way, an alternative to actually have a quick meeting. Sometimes CEOs don't want to take time to wait to have you come in, and because they already know they're going to have to allocate at least 1 hour with you. You might be able to get through the information within 20, 30 minutes. Web conferencing is a great way to go. It's a great way to build your brand. It's a great way to schedule meetings. And when you're on them, turn your video on. You don't get to see people face to face anymore. So at least let them see you and see who they're doing business with.
And one other thing I want to throw out too is when we're trying to coordinate our calendars with the clients for a meeting, we know there's tools out there like Calendly, but most of us are Microsoft 365 users. And Microsoft Bookings has the same ability to have clients click a link and you can put in your availability just like Calendly, and we have it available free, as part of 365. So just a little pro tip there. It makes it easy to try to get a meeting coordinated, because otherwise you're going back and forth, and especially if there's a couple people or more in the client's company, it just takes time. So the tools is what will make it happen for you. If you think I don't have enough time in my day to be able to do this kind of marketing, it has to be done if you want to drive the sales. But the tools, if you use these tools, just like we use different tools in our business of supporting our clients, that helps us be more efficient and productive and allows us to be able to do more with less.
Absolutely. And it gives easy accessibility for your people to be on. So absolutely. Let's talk about leads. So I want to make sure I really explain this as simple as possible. You have what's called MQL and SQL. This still goes back to your decision making on who you're hiring to, by the way. MQL leads are people, they're market qualified leads. These people that show interest in your brand, they're potential buyers. They're not necessarily interested in your brand specifically yet. You have to get them, that's where your demand gen comes from play, and getting them interested to work with you specifically. It comes back to the social media and back to all the outreach you do. But MQL is specifically something coming from marketing. People are interested in your service, but you're up against every other vendor like you right now. Okay. The goal is to convert them to an SQL. Now, you got to pick a definition on where your process draws the line for what from MQL to SQL, and also how it's handled. It's a commonly known issue that people have a hard time with that handoff because they're not sure where it happens. For smaller organizations, if the owner is this closer, like we mentioned, and you hire a person that's going to be your appointment setter / SDR / BDR, fine. Let that person be the person that gets you in, and whenever the handoff occurs, it becomes SQL when it goes to the owner. Or if it's a bigger organization, you have a few people involved, you may have a marketing group that's nurturing these leads, and then you may have people that are there to help you further nurture, like the SDRs are, and you can always move them over to SQL, but at any given time, and then a third handoff at that. But again, you got to agree on what your process looks like, so everybody understands what their job is and responsibility to make it happen. I left this funnel here because, again, people have seen funnels. They're on all kind of freaking marketing and sales things, but it's just a good reminder. It's all about having the ability for marketing to get out there, throw out that net, and start funneling down to find the people that are really where the cream rises to the top. Because if the sales owner if the business owner is the sales rep, and they're on a bunch of useless meetings, they have no other time to work on their business. They're busy talking to people about absolutely nothing. Also, I wanted to add this graph in here. This is a great thing for everybody to notice. Now, I know all the MSPs are saying, I close 90% of my leads. I know that already, but they're always referrals usually. This is not referrals we're talking about here. This is a percentage of leads that are generated from marketing sales efforts that are not from you doing really good business as an MSP and satisfying your customers. So take a look at this, because you can see right away, website lead, 31.3%. That means somebody came to your site, filled out a form, was very interested. That's a great percentage. Look down below though, when you talk about lead list, 2.5%. So people that are buying lists, that's fine. Start nurturing them, give them a reason to talk to you, start hooking up with them on social media, start doing everything, find those people, and don't expect any kind of results immediately, but at least they can start to look into you guys. Start educating them on why they should. So this takes me to content now though, right? Content is extremely important. There's not one major piece you should ever write. It's a bunch of stuff you should write on education. And it should be educational in the way that people can actually comprehend. So, when you're talking about marketing content, it's important to start to provide content that has your logo on it or any kind of co-brand that's associated with it. Make sure it's talking to the end user of what they're trying to accomplish. This is content we build out for our partners, our MSPs to work with. You're not going to see much when it comes into context about a deep feature dive on anything, okay? Because most of your end users will not understand. If you start talking about cybersecurity, they're not going to understand the language that supports cybersecurity in the back end. They don't speak techese. They just want to know that you're going to set up something and make it work, and they're not going to get hacked. That's what they care about at the end of the day. So make sure you have really good content, and make sure your content is diverse too. So make sure you have video, make sure you have templates, make sure you have presentation decks. You have to have an arsenal of things that are educational and not overwhelming, and actually are written in English. Okay.
Well, I was going to say too is that is how you're addressing not having that feature dump is we got to focus our messaging on what we do for them. What we do, but not what we necessarily do for them, all the individual items. What we do is, we are able to mitigate risk within their organization. So that doesn't mean we come out and say, well, we're going to add a firewall, we're going to put this security layer in, we're going to do this from a security, those are the finite details, or the minuscule details that the decision maker isn't going to care about. What they care about is that upper story of mitigating security risk yada, 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 and so on.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And if I don't, remember, I work in the VoIP world. It's phone service. It's a commodity. Most people understand what phones do. But when somebody says, hey, we're going to set up, you definitely want to work with us because we provide an auto attendant. I don't even know, most people don't know, the average person doesn't know what an auto attendant really is. It sounds simple. I mean, and we laugh, I was like, oh, it's so stupid, it's an auto attendant. But the fact is,
Right.
I never use auto attendant on the outside. When I talk to my friend, he's a dentist, he has a successful practice, and he has phone service. I don't say, oh, your auto attendant's messed up. I'm like, dude, what's up with your answering service? Like, or what's up with, when I call in there, why can't I get directly to you? Then he starts saying, well, it's a digital assistant, a virtual assistant, take your pick. Call it something that makes sense to them in their language. So I've been stressing process, structure. It is so important that you understand that the next thing to talk about is exactly that. Once you have your content, once you have your people, once you have your messaging, your goals and everything set, let's develop the process around that. It's important to understand that you have to have this process, because back to what I said about Alex Farlane earlier, it's important that you're able to repeat, rinse and repeat, and if you can't, you're in trouble. It is like Groundhog Day, okay? It is every day doing the same thing. And as you do the same thing, you can look back and see and tweak and figure out where things went right and where things went wrong, okay? So prospecting, connecting, qualifying, and setting goals, demonstrating value, closing deals. I'll tap into that real quick here. Prospecting and research is extremely important. First, organize your leads, organize your resources, and get ready to go for prospecting. Again, every day you're doing the same thing, so you should know. I get at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m. I do my admin tasks of prepping for my day, where I look at my schedule of knowing when meetings are, but then I also have my time for my prospecting. I have my stuff readily available. My email's up, I'm responding to people, and I'm sending stuff back to people, and I'm going to start making my phone calls or whatever it is, however it is you do your outreach. Analyze your need, analyze your prospects' needs. Start seeing where they're from, see what they have going on. Here's something really, really important, especially for MSPs and cybersecurity, or even in our world of VoIP. The very first checklist, the very first thing on the checklist there in the middle talks about recent news announcements and events. Going clear back to when HIPAA became required, that was a huge, huge announcement. And MSPs should have been at that point talking to their prospects and their existing clients about how they become HIPAA compliant. They should be educating them on those things and what that means. For us, when COVID started kicking off, it started talking about how do you work from anywhere? It actually was one of the big things we talked about, Dan, in your group in the first few months, was how to work from anywhere, because everyone was going home. And we had to educate our partners on how to position this, to talk to their customers about, hey, what is the importance of this? How can we make it happen? How easy is it to work with us? So that is extremely important. Then, research the organization, identify stakeholders are one and the same. Know who you're talking to. What do they do? What is their business? I mean, obviously, I'm not saying you have to know what their favorite color, their zodiac sign is, but if you do, that's kind of creepy. But if you don't, that's perfectly fine. But identify the stakeholders so you know who you're talking to. It's extremely important to know these things, because you're going to come into the BANT. It's just a natural evolution. And in BANT, this is budget, authority, need, and timing. Everybody seems to misplace this and they forget about these things. This is a simple conversation. I'm not saying you have to be in their face, but what's your budget? Who are you? What need do you have? No, but in a conversation, when you're doing a proper discovery, you're going to uncover these needs. Like, they have a need. That's why they're talking to you. You just have to figure out what it is. Also, I want to make sure I highlight the 80-20 rule at the bottom. That means for you guys to shut the hell up and ask questions. Listen to them. It's 20% you talking, 80% them talking. Okay, how else can you really present back and tell them what you know that they need? And that's where you present that unique value add. Okay, I want you to keep in mind that each one of these things I'm teaching you, I'm talking about so far, falls in the play of a certain job responsibility. If you as a business owner can't identify who's doing this, that means nobody's doing this yet. So you probably need somebody, or you need to start doing it yourself.
And in that 80-20 rule, I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to practice, because what happens is we so want to fill that void, fill that empty space while they're processing something, and we disrupt them, and they're thinking about something that they might want to talk to you about. Could be some kind of objection that you need to know about that you could just completely throw off track. So that's, when you are ready to, like, you feel like you're going to say something and you shouldn't, as much as it might feel weird that you're not filling that void, it's okay. It's okay.
Absolutely. No, it is. And I put this picture up too, because personalize what you're
I
doing
love
when you
it.
talk to people. I think this is from Tech Bar on Thursday. This is our St. Patrick's episode. But personalize your content. Obviously you see Keith, he says he's my father, but I have not seen a check yet. But, the fact is, and I'll come back to what you even said, the two other gentlemen is Tommy and Ben. They actually are partners of ours. I had to work with them on recruiting them to come into the fold, right? I had to ask them what they were trying to accomplish and what the issues were. I have to ask them about those things. And as they tell me this, when you go back to repeat what you heard, and you should always repeat what you heard, you got to tell them so they know you're listening. Otherwise they think you don't care. When you're addressing, you need to address questions and concerns. And handling objections, people make a huge mistake in waiting until after they present and go into, here's your proposal. Then they think they're supposed to get the objections. You hear it all the time. The fact is, if you've gone that far, you've already missed the boat. They're now just not want to do business with you. People don't sign with you. That's because you didn't uncover all their objections. So you need to be listening to them. And when you come back with a presentation, you need to present the talk points that they said are the most problematic. Obviously you want to talk about everything you do, but you're only going to highlight the other things. If they say, I need A, B, and C, don't start talking about D, E, F, G, Q, Z. That's not, you can highlight them, but you need to focus on these. And when you do show them that, you need to make sure you trial close them on the spot about that. So Dan, you told me that this was a problem. I just showed you, this is it. This is how we solve it. Does this answer your question? Does this make you feel better? Is this what you wanted to see? Yes. If you say no, then at least right now I got the objection. I can say, what is it that I'm missing? And you may say something to me that I now have a chance to respond to. Nothing's worse than coming in after the conversation's over and it's uncomfortable trying to get re-engaged because you're not going to. They've already shut you out. They've already moved on. And it's just a weird conversation. And then you start dropping your cost because you're just trying to win something. And that's a waste of time and a waste of money. And typically becomes a bad customer anyway because they know they can get over on you. And you're not getting the money you should. So we talk about present a tailored solution. Now I know people are like, I'm not going to keep on going back and redoing presentations and whatnot. Nobody's saying you should. I'm going to bet that you probably know 90% to 95% of what all your prospects and opportunities needs are before you even talk to them. They're probably a lot of the same things. You probably have a 10% nuance. That's typical sales and business in general. So that's perfect. Shut up and listen to that 10%. Know that you have to talk about the other 90% and know that your presentation has to come back with that. So you probably already have these things packaged in a way that makes sense. Matter of fact, I know MSPs do because you guys charge per users. You'll charge per user and you'll give them a certain package and you'll probably have a couple of different levels of what you do for them based off whatever technologies they need and whatever level of support you're going to give them. So you already have it, but when you're coming back to present based off the things they asked. Demonstrating value. When you're presenting again, once you get into presentation mode, it goes from 80-20 to a 60-40. Some people say it goes to 80-20 the other way. I think if you go 80-20 the other way, then you're not engaging with the person talking to you. See, like unfortunately right now, for us right now, I'm here to present this. So it's like a 70-30 me talking, but that's because I'm here to do this. But if I'm talking to you as a prospect, I'm talking to you, I'm speaking with you, not speaking at you. I already asked you the questions. I go into presentation mode. When I present, I'm showing the things, I'm trial closing. I'm also asking you for further input on things that I haven't, like anything we didn't talk about that I'm presenting. I'm like, hey, do you ever do this stuff? Check this out. This is really cool. Again, back to the personalization. Show that you listened. Again, I do have links here for you guys to check out for when you want to get on the deck and take a deeper dive on this certain statistics and some other best practices. So please look at the links.
And when you say show that you listen, I mean, that's so important because, if you start jumping into what your offering is too soon, they're going to be at a point where they're like, well, you don't even know everything. I haven't even told you everything. And so how can you be so confident that you have the right solution for me if you haven't confirmed everything that I need? And by reiterating, by stating back what you've learned, basically is putting closure to that learning process. So the client then it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's one more thing. So
absolutely
important piece of that. And all these little things are so critical in the process. And if you think like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. This is a lot of work, a lot of detail. It is, but as long as if you document your process and you master it, then it doesn't seem as daunting. It's just, you're just doing it.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You have to put as much effort as you did into your call center and your ticketing system and everything else. And if you don't, then you're selling it short, and you're not going to have that scalable growth you want. It's the exact same thing. I don't care what anybody says. When you look to hire your tech team, you base off of certain requirements, and you put them through certain development needs, and you gave them ramp up time, and you did things with them and showed them, and you provided playbooks or whatever you did. You made sure they had certifications. Same rules apply here. If you don't do this stuff, again, then don't waste the time. Don't even waste your time. Just don't even do it. Just be happy with your passive income. Take on your 5 or 10 clients, and that's cool. If it's a lifestyle, perfect. If not, and you want to grow, you have no choice but to. So finally, closing the deal, and then I'm done. I promise after this. When talking about closing the deal, it's extremely important. Yeah, we get on the call. I did my due diligence. I had my person that prospected you, qualified you. We knew you had the budget. We knew who the authority was. We addressed all their needs. We actually addressed their needs as far as from the CFO to the CEO to the user, whoever. Everybody's taken care of. And the timing we know is soon. So now you got to talk about how you're going to get to that point. Now, this is where some people struggle. I'm the expert. If you tell me you need phone service on April 1st, I'm going to say we need to start right now. Okay? We need to start right now if you need service on April 1st, because I want to have enough time to get you in, get you set up, get your numbers ported or create new numbers, whatever it is we got to do. I want the time sufficient enough to get your job done and provide right and fulfill you the accurate way. But you're not going to know this unless I absolutely tell you. And it's not about you applying unnecessary urgency. It's about you controlling the facilitation of the business relationship. And if you start off wrong and set the wrong expectations, it's over. But negotiate that agreement based off of your timing, based off the cost, that I showed you the value. If you do it all right, the negotiation becomes almost minimal. They might say, hey, I can't really pay you this much upfront. Is there anything you can do to maybe stretch that out? That's a much better conversation to have than I'm just not going to work with you because I think there's nothing we can do. So make sure you acknowledge that. And if you see people that aren't trying to work with you, ask them why. If they're not willing to sign on the dotted line today, why? Chances are you didn't uncover an objection and you didn't address their needs. But let them tell you what it is. Maybe they'll tell you. Maybe you can actually get it out. Or maybe there's something you just don't know it's happening. Maybe they're too afraid to tell you that the budget doesn't make sense yet. They can't afford it now. But at least you then have a negotiation point to talk through. Because that way, if it's just absolutely a no, you can't work with them because they say, I only have $5 and it's going to cost $5,000. Well, let's talk later. Okay. But if they say, hey, I'm waiting for my budget to open up next month, you want to be in front of this. Well, I'll work this out with you and get this rolling for you. Let's talk about how we do it. Okay. Finalizing the contract, extremely important. Don't be afraid to ask for the freaking business. You've done your due diligence. You've figured out what they need. You've gone through every aspect. Why aren't you asking for business? It's stupid not to. Okay. If you provided a solution to their problem and they've said yes and you trial closed, ask for the freaking business and move forward. At that point, once you do, work out your next step of the process, which is transitioning them to the sales operations. If you are the sales operations, congratulations, you're now doing document collection. That's it for this presentation, everybody.
Well, I wanted to add one thing too is, while you don't always have this control, but if it's not until the end, if they tell you that they've selected another vendor, if you don't have any clue about what's going on until they tell you that, then you're not engaged enough. You haven't, built the rapport with that decision maker for them to be able to open up enough to tell you. If you do build that rapport, then they're going to be more open and willing to share information with you that could help you. Because if they end up liking you, because it comes down to people buy from people. We might be in the world of technology, but people buy from people, and it's that personal relationship that they're looking for. And yeah, so you can't wait till they tell you no to ask where you lost out. But it's you have to know, because you need to know for the next deal where maybe where you went wrong with that one. If that is an area that you need to do some improvement on, you're going to want to do that for the next deal as well.
Absolutely. And actually, That's good to segue into this because, Keith and his infamous genius self. And
Yeah.
at what point do you bring in your your engineers behind the scenes and to the client? The fact of the matter is, your sales reps, you being the owner, you're probably going to know 100% everything that your business does and the fine-tuned pieces to some degree. And you also are able to make the pivots to when you hear a customer say something. If you want to have leverage and things, and you want to pivot to actually get the deal, you have that ability. Sales reps don't have that luxury a lot of times. Some of them are new people, don't understand everything. They understand enough to be almost dangerous, right? So if they're honest about it, most people are okay with dealing with somebody who says, I'm not sure of that answer. Let me check and get back to you. It's better than them just giving some half-assed answer that's not accurate at all. They'd rather hear that. So for engineers involvement, I have no problem saying to somebody, hey, we'll schedule another call. I'll get my engineer on here. I'll get my tech resource on. Also, when you talk to me on day one, if this is a longer sales cycle, you should be setting homework assignments like, hey, check out what I sent you. If you have questions or needs, let me know. Okay. If there's anything that you want to have on the next call, like if let's say the technology question didn't even come up. If there's tech needs and questions, let me know so I can have a resource on that call so that we can get everything hammered out. And setting those expectations. On our next call, my goal is to get everything cleared on any concern you have, whether it's cost, technology, services, support, whatever it is. I want everything covered so we can look to make the next step and go through the contract and sign off. At that point, we've set the expectation on what this meeting is about. You're probably going to hurry up and try to find out what the hell you even need. You're going to tell me prior to the call what we need. The fact is, you show up on the next call and you start telling me you need things, and my follow-up email is going to say that. Hey, Keith, great talking today. You said you need this, this, and this. Anything else, let me know. If you don't include that in there and you show up on the next meeting unprepared, you feel almost obligated to buy from me anyway because you messed up. And you already were probably going to buy from me anyway. And it's just one little tidbit you wanted to know just for a feel good. And you probably feel good because I have everything on point. I've already covered everything that you've asked. Everything has been very candid on the up and ready to go. Keith also asked, how do you balance being real with using sales quotes? I don't know what that even means, Keith, but with sales quotes, like you mean like sales pitches? I mean, it's not being non-real. If you tell me you need something and I answer it, I know what the problem is. You ask, I answer. I know that Ray's read that book. I've read that book. Cheesy sales quotes. You mean like, again, is like sales pitch, sales quotes? You don't need to have those. I mean, they're good for funny, gimmicky things if you want to break the ice or something stupid, of course, right? But the fact of the matter is, you're going to tell me what you need. I'm here to discuss business. I'm not here to sell to you. I'm here to discuss if we're a match. That's the first thing I enter in conversations with, like, hey, here for today's meeting, we're going to talk about if we're a match. I'm gonna learn more about you. You're gonna learn about me. If we're not good, then we're not good.
I mean, that does two things, right? I mean, number one, you want to make sure it's a good fit overall, but number two, you're planting the seed to that prospect that you're something special, you're something unique. And
right.
What is it that is special and unique that you're looking for a certain type of prospect? Because then all of a sudden they're going to be like, I want to be that. I want to fall into that criteria because what you're telling me sounds cool. I want to be one of those people.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And actually, to add to Keith, he just said about, can we meet today or tomorrow? It depends on what stage the life cycle of the journey of a lead is very important to understand. Depends on where we are in this conversation. Now, if you were a form fill on our website, I'm going to call you, leave you a voicemail if you don't answer, and be like, hey, Keith, Sean Lardo from OITVOIP, touching base, so you're interested in our partner program. So here's my number. I'm going to follow up with an email. Okay. And my email is going to say exactly the same thing, basically like, hey, Keith, per my voicemail, that way you know I called you too. I'd like to schedule some time with you to talk more about it. Here's my days and times I'm available. Let me know what works best for you. Okay, that's that. Now, if you're talking about cold prospecting, no, it's a horrible thing to do. I ignore any kind of, I don't even always ignore, sometimes I even respond back, like on LinkedIn when I get people that they connect with me and they immediately send me a sales pitch. I tell them, no, thank you. You may want to take some time and get to know what I do, who I am, and just engage it in my circles first. So at least I see you as being around. Email is the same thing. When they send me an email like, this is why we're the best and you should work with us, they have no clue if I need them at all. Great. I mean, maybe I do. And I know those campaigns work to a degree, and that's fine. But if you're, back to your point, when they send that, I don't really pay attention to that either. Now, personalization is extremely important. Keith, sending you an email from school. Keith, hey, wanted to introduce myself. We're new in your area. We work with a lot of companies just like yours. As a matter of fact, we work with so-and-so. We were able to help them a little bit. If you ever need anything, just let me know, reach out. I won't continue with this, but know we're here. If you don't mind, I'll keep sending you some stuff that may be helpful and informative for you. Let me know either way. You can unsubscribe or not, it's up to you. But I like to just keep my network engaged and informed on things that are changing, and we can even use like in the legalities of things, because the law always changes for everything. So if that happens to be my industry, you may want that. And you may say, absolutely, keep sending me stuff, and all it is that's more marketing than at that point, and it's educational. Marketing content is more of a did you know, where sales is more of a, how do we work together, call to action, I haven't had a chance to look at all the questions here, so I'm looking as we go.
Yeah, there's let's see, there's a couple other ones here.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people saying about dig for pain and find out prospects' needs. It is, yeah, you guys have a lot of, Keith, you talk way too much. Alan, my God.
Well, the funny thing is Keith always says that, refers to the people smarter than him. Keith is a very, very intelligent person.
Hey,
and
that's negotiable, that's arguable, but yeah, I agree.
He is a great guy, good man, and he is smart, but he doesn't take enough credit for his talent. So
no, he takes a lot of credit for fatherhood. Anyway, let's talk about what Alan said though. Alan, you said an appropriate amount for the platform community. What's a viable amount for you to be able to interact, participate, rather than just pushing ads? Well, okay, I met you guys all through this group. I am, obviously I'm a vendor. I recruit partners. And we talked about this a long time in one of your calls, actually, Dan, one time. And I'm here to become just a resource. If you need me, great, I'm here. You know what I do. That's the thing about the buyer's journey today. Most of you will work with me or anybody like me because you've done your research prior to even talking to me. The sales responsibilities has changed. Back in the day, it was get in, to be the marketing, the business development, presenting, and closer. That's not the case and hasn't been for a long time. This whole thing called the intraweb has made it very easy for people to do stuff. So the engagement fact, you're absolutely right. There's a difference between being like pushy with work with us, and being a marketing runaround, as opposed to being, I'm your friend, because I want to be your friend. I want to create a relationship with you guys. And I don't want you to sign with me just because I push it down your throat, because then you're not happy anyway, neither am I. It's a bad marriage. But you can engage and become that source of truth and become just a friend amongst the community, and that's it. You'll find out. Actually, Alan, you did it with me, man. When you were ready to make a move, you said, Sean, let's talk about reselling VoIP. I have some stuff I want to do. You and I got on the call and you signed with us. That was how it went. There was never anything else. So your engagement should be based off of generating relationships first. And how do you generate relationships? Same way you end up being married. You didn't just say, hey, you're going to marry me. It wasn't the caveman. You hit her with the head of the club. You're like, hey, I like you. Let's go out to dinner. Let's go get ice cream. Let me learn about you. And then you learned about each other and found that you were a match. And guess what? You actually did trial closing. Like you made sure you didn't snore. Now you probably do years later, but you cured that because you said, I don't like snorers. I don't like a guy that wears butterfly collars. I love when we say it because I can see this picture behind you, Dan. But so you stop wearing butterfly collars, So, that's the thing is like, it's a relationship and you have to build a relationship first to do business. That's it.
Absolutely. Was there another one that you were gonna?
I'm looking here. There's so many more up here. Define social selling. Social selling is simple. It's exactly, there's different versions. Okay. It is, look at what OITVOIP does. We put stuff out at the company level, but it also requires us to get engaged at the lower level too, meaning me. I have Drew on here, Matt's on here. They all engage with groups. They all engage in various places. That is what social selling is. It's about identifying needs of others and how you can help them. Not even necessarily pushing your own product either. Obviously back to the did you know campaigns, you can run social all day long because social media can populate 1 million times a day. Not everybody sees it because, your posts are seen by whoever's looking at that time maybe. but you're always looking for engagement. You don't have to post stuff about your own business. Post stuff about other stuff. Back to that HIPAA compliance thing. When that all went down, or let's even talk about whenever COVID happened, and we were talking about those PPP loans, right? How much stuff was out there on social media? How many, you guys don't even do the loans. You guys applied for the loans, but you guys aren't selling the loans, yet you guys were commenting and posting about the information. That's social media. That's social selling. Now I know Dan's group grew as a result of this stuff because he was giving out content that was something people needed, pertinent content to stay successful and stay open. So you naturally gravitated a group. Every one of us did, right? So kudos to Dan for doing that, right? That's social selling. You don't have to be in a rush, like I said, and that's back to Alan's question, being involved in the groups. That's exactly what the groups are about. Stay involved, engage in the groups, listen to what's being said, provide stuff they need to help them, even if it's not something you provide. You know, if Alan says, I'm looking for a new cat, because I know he loves cats, I don't have cats, but hell, here's a no-kill shelter, man. Check it out. I give you that link and you're like, thanks, man. Now we're friends. We're at least friendly. You now know me at least. So it's as simple as that.
Building that raving fan experience. You know, I don't know if anybody's read the book Raving Fans, but it's a good read. It's kind of cheesy, but it's a good read because a satisfied customer is not enough. We need somebody that's ecstatic about our services, somebody that would not think twice about looking for another vendor. And that starts during the sales process. You know, it has to start with sales, you know, having that raving fan service, because why would the client think that, oh, the sales guy's not going to work to exceed my expectations? The sales guy's just selling me. They're only going to start pouring on the raving fan service once I buy. Well, you have to show that value before they buy. So all pre-sales, because then they know once they do buy, then you're there for them. And
couldn't agree more. Let's be very clear. If your sales process isn't on point and you don't have a good showing, you're not going to buy. They're not going to buy from you. They won't. Why would they? If you're chewed up, the rest of the company must be chewed up also. If you can't even provide the right service and support to make money, my God, what's going to happen when I start to giving you my money? Where are you going to be? I mean, presentation. I'll tell you a great movie to watch if you haven't watched it. And even I'm not like an Apple pusher or anything, but if you watch that Steve Jobs movie, my God, it's all he talks about is presentation. He was yelling about turning off the exit light in a dark room, those little red exit lights, because it messed up his presentation on stage. Even though they're at the back side of the room, movie theaters have them, you don't even see them. He's like, they have to be turned off. They have to be turned off. Presentation is crucial. It is going to be, you know, they say perception is 9/10 reality. Well, remember, these prospects, for the first time they're actually engaging with a live person in the company, is you. So if you suck, the company perception is 9/10 reality of sucking. Period. There's nothing else to base it off of. So yes, so focus on presentation, velocity, responses, everything else, and that's it. We're at 3:04 Eastern Standard, Dan.
I think we've answered all the questions, and so just real quick, OITVOIP, you guys actually sell a service, right?
Yeah, we do. We recruit partners. Yeah, we do. We work with, like I said, as I said before, mostly MSPs with VoIP services. We have two programs, channel and white label. And so depending on where you are, and that's part of our vetting process when we talk on our very first call, we determine which way you should go. Once we do that, we fully support you regardless of whatever you're doing. And we provide it's whether you're going white label or channel, it really is a business in a box for you to go work and add to your stack and find money and making and selling VoIP to your end users. And by the way, VoIP is big these days considering COVID. So if you're having a hard time getting door people with what your existing offer looks like, phone service is a commodity, guys. So you might as well use it to your advantage. People need to make phone calls. That's how they talk to each other. Don't know if you know that or not.
And much better for you to provide that service to them than a competitor. So let's say you're managing this account, right? You've got the MSP contract. You've never pitched VoIP to them. Well, another company who is a MSP also selling VoIP might have their focus for, foot and door being pushing VoIP. All of a sudden you have a competitor that just sold them VoIP and they have their foot in the door. You have a competitor on your coattails. And so VoIP is only going to continue to explode. Copper is obviously going away. I mean, so
it's not scalable now. It's just, I mean, we saw a very large increase in all of our partners last year in VoIP growth. People start working from home. That's one thing right there. The old school on-prem solutions, some can do that with phone routing, most can't. So VoIP itself as a whole has grown industry-wide. And like I showed you guys content we create, our goal is just to make sure we empower these partners that actually promote and sell better. And we've had some great success, so I can't complain. It's been good for us. It's been good for our partners. And if you guys aren't on our social channels, by all means, follow us. We're on Facebook, Reddit. Well, Reddit is a subreddit. You can find OIT Facebook is OITVOIP, LinkedIn OITVOIP. We constantly put out stuff. We put out a lot of stuff from CompTIA and other sources on MSPs, what they should do, not VoIP related, but just in general to help you guys grow your business. So take a look at it and please engage. And if there's anything you guys need, you can always reach out.
Excellent. And one last thing, you guys have a special promotion for Everything MSP members, don't you?
Yeah. Yes. Let me prepare for that. We're offering a discount to all of our white label partner. Anybody wants to become a white label partner for the onboarding, we'll be taking $1,000 off of the onboarding cost. But you have to use the promo code BALD is beautiful. If you don't, right, this is paying homage to Dan, of course. If you don't use it, you don't get it. You have to specifically say it, or we're not going to entertain it. This promotion will end at the end of this month. So we are going to give you guys a couple weeks to actually get to it.
No,
yeah. Alan. No, Alan. See, there you go. You're going against the grain again. No.
Always negotiating. Always negotiating.
Nobody's arguing if beards are beautiful or not, guys. But that's not the promo code. I'm sorry. We'll not work.
No. Sorry, you gotta get your Bic razor out before you can take advantage of that. So.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly.
So that's awesome. That's a great discount. We greatly appreciate you offering that to our group members. This is a very generous offer. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. No, you know what? This community's been great to us. You've been great to us. So we figured it's something that we can do to help. And any way we can help, we want to. So thank you for having us.
You bet. All right, guys, it's 3:08. I'm sure you have some other things to do. Thank you very much for attending today's call. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time, we'll be live on Facebook doing our Build It Better call, which is every Wednesday and Friday at 12 noon. And you can watch us streaming live on Facebook. Or if you go to our website, everythingmsp.com, you can click a link to join the Zoom event itself. We're going to be switching over to Teams soon, but you can join the Zoom event so you can be engaged and interactive with the group. And with that said, everybody have a awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, guys.
Thanks all.